Hey, happy Labor Day, everybody. I hope everyone had a hot dog or two, or at least something on the grill. But we're talking art tonight, especially we're focused in on Heritage's upcoming signature auction, and there's some changes afoot over with the signature structure, and there's a few other things that we can talk about related to things going on over at Heritage before we dive into this preview. So let me bring in Mr. Joe Mannarino. We'll get this thing started. Hey, Joe. Nice
Hey,
to see you again. Did you take the day off? Do anything fun? Barbecue? Anything?
we did barbecue. We took it easy. I mean, yesterday was we decided to move things up. It was my granddaughter Lily's birthday, so we went yesterday instead of today. So then we just barbecued and hung out today.
Awesome, awesome. What did I have? I had spaghetti today. No grilling. Yeah. I grill. I have a grill right outside the door over there, so I grill often enough. I don't have to have
So you grilled spaghetti.
I agree. It's a thought. You never know.
Hmm.
But yeah, so there were a few things I wanted to ask you about. I mean, we might as well. We were sort of talking about it a little bit before the show started, and it's the thing I brought up to everybody in the audience last Thursday was I noticed that for the first time with the signature auction, instead of having a comics and comic art signature auction on the website, they are now split into two distinct auctions with distinct ID numbers, and even though they overlap, it's the same weekend, and it's not like the dates changed from the formats from the past several signature auctions, but there is a separation now between comics and comic art on the Heritage website. So I'm curious why that was.
The big reason is that we're still experimenting with how to make certain parts of the auction shorter, specifically non-floor comic art. I mean, we've heard, oh man, 9 hours, 8 hours, it's just too long. So we kick back and forth. Should we raise the threshold even more? Should we make comic art maybe 3 separate days? Should we, I mean, we brainstorm these things all the time. So for the time being, the first step is let's try making two, for technical reasons, basically for the computer, we'll make them separate, and then we separated. And I think you've got a slide. We're going to take the non-floor and separate it into 20th century and 21st century. So basically, if it's pre 2000, it'll be in Sunday non-floor first session. If it's after 2000, which is considered modern, it'll be in session 3, which starts at 6:30 Central on Sunday. That way, if there are collectors that are focused on one or the other, they don't have to sit in front of the computer the entire day. We welcome them, obviously. Thank you. So would somebody confirm that the audio does sound okay this time?
Yeah, I think we figured it out after the last one, right? But
Yeah.
live and learn.
Yeah.
But
Turned out to be a USB hub issue.
yeah, Joe had his mic plugged into a USB hub, so it wasn't getting enough power. So Joe changed that, and now he sounds like he should be on radio.
Great.
But that's it. So with regards to Sunday, then I assume it's still following artist by alphabetical. So with each of those, technically like two different sessions between the 20th century and the 21st century, they're still following the same order pattern with Neil Adams ahead of Chris Bachalo, that sort of thing.
True, but then if Neil Adams did something after 2000,
he'd be in both.
It would be in the second session as well. So you have to be prepared, if you're a Neil Adams fan and you like the latest stuff as well, to bid in the second session.
Well, interesting. Well, that may not make the Neil Adams fans happy, but if the buyers are by era, then it'll probably work out really well for them.
We did a study, and we found that there's not as much overlap as you might think. The modern art guys are modern art for the most part, and earlier. So let's see how it goes. Maybe we can divide it up in another way later on, just again to make it. We're just trying to, for the sake of the bidders, make it shorter.
No, it makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
I think, and the fact is, you have plenty of room to experiment. You do several of these every year, and this is the first go at it. But so one of the other questions I had for you was, I know early in August there was a what was the name of that auction? I have it saved somewhere around here. There was you kind of ran this like a panel page showcase, superhero panel page comic art showcase. Ran like late July, early August, and then currently you have another kind of a showcase auction called the Independent Invasion Modern Comic Art Showcase. Yeah, these are kind of going along with where we already have the signature auctions. We have the Wednesday weekly ones. So what's where have these kind of come about, and are they something that's here to stay? They seem like an every 6 week or so specialty auction, although the artists kind of are similar. We're seeing there's Chaykin and Adams and etc. in those in these specialty auctions as well. But what's the thought process behind those?
Again, to try and cut down on the signature auction items, if we add showcase auctions that are themed, and it could be by collector, could be like we just had one the other day of only Western comics,
Correct. Yeah.
and it was basically one collector, if not two, but it was a unique collection, all Western, from Gene Autry 1, from the first Western comic on. So again, those books now don't have to be in the signature sale, and anybody who's a Western collector would be notified via want list and be aware of it. I mean, I would encourage everybody, if you're not using the Heritage want list service, you need to. If you're a Neal Adams fan, go into My Heritage, scroll down, want list, and just add Neal Adams. As soon as something goes in the system, as soon as an auction gets activated, no matter what it is, showcase, weekly, signature, it doesn't matter. You will get an immediate notification, and then it'll start tracking any item for you right away, so you never miss anything. Every savvy collector does it, but there's always those that they're newer, they haven't tried.
Well, I don't consider myself a savvy collector per se, but I do have a few want list keywords set up over there, and I get my email not from you, but from Joe Mannarino. It's got his picture on it. One of these days, we should just switch it over to you.
I forgot.
I thought you were going to do that.
Yeah, I will do that. You're right. Yeah.
All right. Well, that answers that. So in other words, it's just a way to, lighten the load for the signature auctions, and also keep some choice pieces out of the weekly auctions, as long as you can kind of find a similarity between the lots, whether it's by era or.
Yeah, and then there's it gives you a lot of flexibility. We have a lot of Harvey art that comes available, or a lot of Archie art that comes available, or the Garfield art, so you can have. You don't want to have in one auction, 200 Garfields in a weekly, and have somebody wait. People wait all in the middle of the auction. So having it as a showcase, the Garfield collectors show up. They know exactly what they're looking at, and the consigners. Sometimes consigners will say, I don't want to wait 6 years for 200 items to be auctioned. So this is a great way to deal with it that way.
Yeah, there is a little bit of that, right? When things get consigned from one consigner, those lots could take a long time for them to finally get from beginning to end. And that makes a lot of sense. All right, Alberto's slyly agreeing with me that I'm not a savvy collector. Not like Alberto. I can't match his, skill here as a collector. That's for sure. I think that was all the questions I had for you. Just, those are just the changes that I've been seeing, off of the Heritage website, which was like the one caught me by surprise, though, that first one at the end of July, beginning of August, just because I don't I don't recall seeing any emails about it, and I think I saw it the night it was ending. It was just a little surprising. Whereas the independent one, I do feel I got an email about that one when it started. So that's all. It was just interesting to see because we're as collectors so trained to the Wednesday auctions and the signature auctions that first one or two of those maybe just we missed it. So just
Again, the want list, and you also have to pay attention to those weekly emails that go out. I know people kind of take it for granted, but that's what
I read
gives
them.
you a rundown. And you copy them and put them in.
Yeah, no, I at least scan every email that comes in. That's why, I knew that I saw the Western one, and we even reported on it in our market data because that kind of flows through. And we're going to be doing more reporting with you guys related to the animation auctions that you host on Tuesdays now. I got the whoever's in your tech department to start sending us those files. So, we're trying to broaden our coverage of what's going on out in the OA world in all facets.
Good.
Okay, well, let's we got a lot of lots to look at tonight. It is a pretty interesting.
Yeah, this is a loaded auction. I say it. I seem to be saying it every time, but they seem to be getting better and better. What can I say? And I'm happy about it.
I understand. I mean, it's as even for you to see these pieces coming out has to be a pleasure.
Absolutely.
So you're starting off with a big piece.
As I always say, when I start doing my list, which is usually a couple of days from when I'm doing this review, I try and either use the top price or, bid track or interest or, things like that. So I try and make everybody happy. And, this is it was the highest priced item, but I mean, look at this page. It's spectacular. This is an iconic page from an iconic story of an iconic character.
By an legendary artist.
So. By a legendary artist, and it's also an homage to the Buscema Wolverine 1 cover and the Frazetta Conan. So you got everything going for it, and Barry did a masterful job.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I know this one has a lot of interest from a lot of collectors. Every collector would love to have a page from this run, right, by Windsor-Smith, certainly, and they're always going to be in demand. They're like John Byrne X-Men pages.
Yeah, I mean, what is the price at already?
145 without the buyer's premium. So yeah, that's another like 30. So it's 180, right?
Yeah,
around there.
Yeah.
And we're doing this early, as everybody knows. This auction is a week and a half from now starting time because just our schedules kind of fit for doing this on a Labor Day. So but yeah, no, this one's going to be interesting to watch. I haven't put it in my track list yet, so I don't but I know that I'll be watching live, so this will be a fun one.
Oh yeah, this is a great one. I mean, look, you can go into detail and the foreground, and I mean it's just like looking at the Frazetta and anything else. It's just spectacular. The art draws you right up to the main character. Barry, is able to focus your attention exactly where he wants it to be, and it doesn't have to be this giant figure. This is a different sensibility, and what can I say beyond it works?
Well, it's a stunner, and it's going to be fun to see where that one winds up. Now, I did have a question about this next lot, but I was going to ask you before we started, but since it's in the set, I will ask you now. It's listed as almost like a standalone piece or lot.
It has its own auction.
It's got its own catalog. Which, by the way, I did not receive the heritage catalogs. Everybody else did. I did not get mine. That's why
You didn't get any of them?
I didn't know, not a single one. I've gotten everyone. Everybody was razzing me because they said I hadn't won anything in a while. But it was interesting, that this one, you kind of why. I mean, clearly it's an important piece. it could set records or will set records, and it had its own catalog. So you really gave it a distinctly different treatment than I think we've seen anything before this.
Yeah, I agree. And, it deserves it. I mean,
Mhm.
if you read the listing or if you got the catalog, which goes into even more detail, one thing I don't think it mentions, if I'm not mistaken, this is the first Conan that everybody thinks that Conan the Adventurer, the single, pose of Conan is the first Conan. This is actually the first Conan. And Manape, as it's come to be known, it was done in 1966 for the Lancer Ace book reprints. It was a huge hit, and this is what launched. I've told the story before. Frank was doing the Ace reprints, and he was getting $300, or that's what he told me, $300 per thing, and they kept the art, which was annoying him to no end. When the guys that launched Lancer knew that they would love to get Frazetta, so they looked for some vehicle for him to work on, and they got Conan and offered Frank. He told me 400 might have been, I always wonder, it was that many years ago, but, more money, and he got to keep the art. So he immediately said, okay, now you'll see what I can really do when, I'm not pissed off. And this is what he came up with. You could see the huge difference between those Ace covers and, the Conans that followed immediately. So, this comes out, and he does a masterful job. It's classic Frazetta anatomy in action. I mean, the figure is there, but I mean, it looks like he's ready to strike the blow. He gives us the rough tiled floor, which he's great at doing in order to create perspective and depth. He puts the shield on the back wall so that you get that depth. And then what I love is, of course, everybody loves this bright, stark color, which is like blood red, which is kind of a harbinger of what's to come. But then that reflected light off the cape onto Conan, which he does so well. So he uses these colors in his anatomy that nobody would use, and it always works.
Yeah. No, I agree. Everything you said is the reason why this thing is a stunner. Yeah, that's I guess we're all better off for Frank getting pissed that he wasn't getting his originals back. It's interesting because I know the date was 67, but where when he signed it, it's 74. So maybe he made a few touch ups after the publication image was
He
completed.
dated it when he changed the name, and he thought he was getting the copyright. When they were going to
Ah,
reproduce it as a poster or something like that.
okay.
Which, of course, he doesn't own the copyright on the Robert E. Howard property, but changing, and then he got permission to do it, so they were able to do it. But it's just they thought that they were accomplishing something in that way, and it really doesn't matter most of the time. Now,
Well,
remember this one, if you're bidding on it, which, we're all are welcome, but I think it's already over $6 million, right? Uh,
right. It's at 7.5 with the buyer's premium.
yeah.
So
Well, I mean, I know you're going to be in on it. So I just wanted to tell you that this starts a half hour earlier than the regular auction. So this is on at 11:30 instead of 12.
So everybody should set a reminder in their calendars right now,
Yeah.
so you can see where this one ends up at. Yeah, no, I mean it's gonna be it's just gonna be fun to watch. Clearly, it's a historic piece, and whomever has this one will have a conversation piece to outbeat any other piece of artwork they have on their wall. I'm certain.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'd love it to be right back there. That should be over the mantle, any mantle.
I'll buy a reproduction and hang it on my back wall. So where do we go from here? We have a Romita Senior Spidey cover from 1968 with
Oversized.
Azar and Sabu. Yeah, oversized as well. And yeah, this one's already over 100 is right now, and it's beautiful. I mean, it even with the Spider-Man with the big logo on his back, he could break the rules as far as Stan wanting the characters to be facing the reader and that sort of thing. Here you can do that, and you still know who the character is. It's not there's nothing misleading about the imagery, and it works because you've got the I guess the anti-heroes kind of jumping at him. I don't know how Zabu got that high up. He's jumping out of a building's window to come at Spidey at some point. But
yeah, Nadia and I were talking about that earlier. Where did he come from? Okay, but hey, what's important here is this is a very early Kazar appearance.
Mhm.
I mean, he first appeared in X-Men 10, and then there's not many appearances before this. So for some reason, I'm sure Stan was planning on using him down the road, so he wanted to feature him, and he thought he's important enough to do that. And like you say, he becomes the anti-hero. J. Jonah Jameson convinces him in the story that he's a villain, and so Kazar comes after him, and then eventually, of course, it all comes full circle.
Mhm. No, it's gorgeous. I mean,
Again, there's only so many. The cover, the Romita cover of 39, which I don't think we've ever found, but from 40 up to maybe 58, 60, somewhere like that, are oversized, and then they're undersized covers. So this is 68, so this is right on the cusp of them becoming smaller. So that if you're the proud owner of a Romita oversized cover, that's something to brag about.
Well, I'll be watching this one too. I'm sure Mr. Berkey will be keeping his eye on it.
Yeah.
As well.
That's not whiteout. I mean, it is whiteout on Spidey's head, but what happened is there's a paste over. If you look at the listing, you'll see for whatever reason he changed the length of his neck slightly. So there's art underneath the paste over and on top of the paste over. So we pictured it both ways.
Got it. Let's see here. Well, we go right back to Frazetta with an eerie.
Yeah. We don't normally put two Frazettas in the sale, oils, but they're so different that we thought it was okay. And actually, one would help the other. I always like this image because there's so much humor in it. Frazetta's favorite movie was King Kong. And so what does he do? Here's Jim Warden. At this point, Warren is asking him, do you have any other images that we could use? I mean, they'll take the painting and then they'll write a story because his cover's sold. So he does a parody of King Kong where instead of it being King Kong, it's a beautiful woman, gigantic, beautiful woman. So it's Frazetta parodying himself.
Yeah, well, it's like Fay Ray holding, a diminutive King Kong. I mean,
Exactly.
it's perfect.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're if you're into Frazetta, it's like, do you like Egyptian Queen or do you like the Conan? It's are you a Babe fan or you were a Barbarian fan?
But the unique thing with for us is that Frazetta did both so well. It's not like a nude Frazetta babe is going to sell for more than a strapping Conan one, because at the end of the day, that's what he's well known for, both things.
Exactly.
And you can get away with it, whereas you could look at a lot, say more modern artists, and you might not be able to say that. The beautiful cover with a nice woman on it sells for a little differently from J. Scott Campbell than one that might just have Thor on it, right? I mean, it's just
Exactly
how it goes. But it's not true in with modern masters like Frazetta and certainly Barry Windsor-Smith and others. I think we're going to see a Conan cover in a little bit by them as well. And their art transcends character at the end of the day.
Yeah. And, I mean, I really like, he did a great, he put in detail all over this painting. It's not one of those that's just the surrounding area. I mean, he does the cityscape, he does the building, he does a beautiful sky, very unusual type of sky for him. And it's ominous, but, and then look at, people, whenever I was there, Frank used to, if you're walking outside, what kind of plane you think that is? Because he used to love going to this airfield in Brooklyn, and he'd identify the planes, and he could tell by all the details, and he was quite the expert, and he prided himself on it. But look at those planes; they're perfect. It's not by accident.
No.
Now, this is a very interesting one. Very interesting one.
Now, where are we at price-wise? I didn't even look when I loaded this up. So it's 115 with the buyer's premium right now.
How about that?
Hey, I mean, what did Brian say when he, that's when he felt he could get 6 figures for it? I think that was his social post, or McKeen, that it might be able to consider selling it, and it's already over that. So I don't know. I mean, I didn't, you don't know what to expect for pieces like this, because pieces from this story don't come out that often, right? At the end of the day. And so, it's really hard to gauge, like, market data estimates and all those sorts of things that, are kind of thrown out the window, especially on a piece that's like this, that, is so striking, is so memorable.
Look, the jock Joker. Well, I mean, what did that take?
Yeah.
I mean,
I was just going to reference that as well.
If it was Batman, I don't think you're getting that kind of money. But the Joker has become the image people want. I mean, he is the ultimate DC villain. I mean, it's certainly not Lex Luthor in my mind. So, and then McKeen did this in such an odd way. This is how he described it. He says, "I made a clay mask of the Joker and shot it from different angles in different lighting states. Then I used those photographs and the Joker panels, and I added paint, ink, scratching out the emulsion. So this is 3-dimensional, and he explains that the end result gives him this manic, otherworldly quality compared to the simply drawn and painted characters." You could read the rest of his quote. It's quite insightful. And the interesting part is this was an interior page. I mean, this is an ideal cover, but they didn't put it on the cover. This was like page 31. So, when you're going through the book, I remember, going through the, I mean, this stopped you in your tracks. This was a jaw drop. Wow. Look at that. It's so different, so unique. And I think that's the best way to describe it, is jaw drop. Look at those eyes. It makes me want to turn away now.
Well, too bad he didn't save the 3-dimensional figure that he worked on. I mean, as far as I know, right? That would have been cool to have as part of it. But it just shows how important it was for him to get the likeness right. It's not just always needing to pull something out of your head, and because you're a great artist, sometimes a reference is good, especially when you want to get the lighting and the mood right. And it's the Joker. It's not like you can get somebody to stand in for this face, right?
I mean, I found it interesting that one of the first things he tells anybody is that after this book, he said, I'm not doing any more superheroes. And he walked away from the genre totally. I think he scared himself. I don't know.
I don't know, but yeah, this will be one that's fun to watch. I mean, I don't know the market at all. I have nothing to base it off of, but
I think this is gonna. I mean, if it isn't already a record price, I remember we had a great was it a Hellblazer cover, McKeen, and a couple of really good, but I kind of remember them being in the 50,000 range. So I don't know if we've ever been up this high.
Yeah, now you're making me actually do a market data search for me just to see what the highest McKeen on record is that we have here. Sandman #5 cover went for $90,000 in 2022, and a Sandman #6 cover went for $50,000 in 2020.
Okay,
So
that's the one
the
I was
top,
thinking of.
yeah, those would be the top two, and this one has already passed that by
Yeah,
a fair amount. Well,
and those
congrats
were
to Dave.
iconic covers. Sandman
Oh, heck
covers.
yeah.
So here we go.
Yep,
It's the British invasion, and they certainly held up their end.
that is true. Then we have Calvin and Hobbes Daily from 1980.
Yeah. We sold that other last auction. Was it
Yeah, it was the last one.
$400,000? Calvin and Hobbes. I mean, unbelievable. And so, this comes out of the woodwork. This one's got a nice story to it. Sven Berlin is the director of Europa Press, and he was the person responsible for bringing Calvin and Hobbes to Scandinavia. And that's why Waterson sent them as a thank you an original, and it's inscribed to him. Yeah, it also has a picture, I guess, of it's a pen and ink. If you scroll, done by a Norwegian illustrator. And it's that's him and the different characters that he brought to Scandinavia surrounding him. Really cool. And this is a really good gag. You have both Calvin and Hobbes, and
yeah, that's fun. I love the split panel there for the second and third panels. I mean,
yeah,
four panel dailies aren't the norm, but it works really well here with the way he wanted to tell this little gag.
Yeah,
connecting
nice.
panel 2, 3. Yeah, there you go, Marcus. But yeah, I mean, these are always going to do well, and they should. There's a very, very finite number of these pieces out on the market.
Yeah, and it's still incredibly popular. I mean, it's amazing how popular it is with an entire 2 generations after, because of the compilations. But that just tells you how good it was.
Agreed.
Yeah, we got to go. We got to keep going because, as Albert would say, next, because we've got items in this sale as opposed to a typical one. So
but here's
rushing you through it.
Yeah, but here's the piece, right? The Barry Windsor-Smith Conan cover.
Yeah.
And again, it's Conan was pretty popular in the late 60s, early 70s in comics in general, not quite the same way that he is today, but come on, it's Barry Windsor-Smith, and this one's, I mean, my goodness, I didn't even realize it was that high. So it's already over $100,000 with the buyer's premium. So there's a lot.
We have had, early covers have been around a bit, one at a time, and now we're offering number 7, but the popularity is just gone, off the charts. And as we know, a lot of people prefer some of Barry's a little bit later pages because they're more detailed. But this is the most detailed of the early covers. So that's why this one is so attractive. And you have the beautiful girl, of course, Lady Astrias. It's very indicative of his figures. He was really striving for that pre-Raphaelite look of these very strong figures in repose, and that's what he always went for, and that's why he just kept adding more and more detail as he could get away with it. He started separating himself from Kirby and Buscema and the rest, and he became Barry Smith. Or I should say Barry Windsor-Smith.
Yeah. Well, it's great to see 2 of his pieces up, near the top of the current, levels as far as
amazing
sales prices go. Yeah. Oh, That'll be another one to watch. Oh, and then I knew that this Liefeld X-Force page with the with Deadpool on it. I mean, always going to be in demand. And that one's at 42 right now. But yeah,
A really strong Liefeld Deadpool page, second appearance story. You know, his backstory falls into place here, where his connection with the Weapon X programs revealed for the first time. Here, he's taken a major hit from Garrison Kane, who this is his first debut in this story, in this book. So you got a lot going on here, and obviously Liefeld's art is very hot right now.
Yeah, this screams early 90s, you know, with the jagged panel, you know, slicing through the other panels, you know, all of that. But yeah,
I
very
was
cool.
having a discussion with, you know, I don't remember who it was, but it was Tom Fish. Now that I think about it, but we were talking about Marvel's most popular characters, and you know, Deadpool is now, right? Is he in the top 5 now? You know, Spidey's at the top, but Wolverine is in there, and then you know, if you take everything into consideration, you know, he might be number 3, 4, or 5, certainly in that realm. I mean, he's this close to Cyclops. I'll tell you.
Well, I'm glad you said that. Thank you. I wasn't gonna even go there, but yeah, no, I get it. I mean, definitely one of the more popular characters, but anything from this, you know, from this early in his appearances and by Liefeld, and it's got good humor in it and great one-liners throughout it. It's definitely a page that people are going to be interested in owning.
Nice. Yeah. And again, how much is that at already? I mean,
That was it was at, I think it was at 32. So with the juice, it was what, around 43, somewhere around in there.
I think that's going to get up to $100,000.
Would not surprise me.
Yeah.
So we have a Schomburg here.
Yeah. What's interesting about this one is, of course, Schomburg did 2 Overstreet covers, and this is done in the same way he did his recreations, as full color paintings. The other ones weren't published. This is an actual published cover. So this was the cover of Overstreet 21. It's the Invaders. It's a nice large size, you know, 16 by 21. Beautifully rendered. You know, it's Schomburg, undeniable.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. I think my first Overstreet was the other cover he did where they were fighting over a battle. You know, battleship was down below them. That was my first, and so I had no idea who Schomburg was at the time, but it just felt like the right image for a price guide. You know, it was just perfect, and yeah, so these are just fun to see. I mean, kind of weird and absurd in what's going on, riding the torpedoes or whatnot. But hey, why not? If you're going to go into battle, you might as well go into battle in style. So no, I think it's awesome. I love it.
I don't know why. I don't know why Submariner needed to ride the torpedo. I mean, Captain America needed a way to get there, but Submariner could swim a little quick.
He could, but what they should have been surfing. That would have been funny to have them both surfing. But all right, we take it as we will. But I think it's a great image, and it's Schomburg. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's not enough pieces like this out there. I know he did some recreations and whatnot, but it's just awesome to see these.
Yeah.
Riding the storm out. Thank you, CJ. That's good.
Yeah.
This was cool to see. A Fred Ray Action Comics cover. This is from issue 45.
Issue 45 Action Comics. I mean, beautiful. Fred Ray became one of, he only did 15 covers for Action Comics. It always seems like when you're talking about a great cover, the famous patriotic cover, with the eagle. That's a Fred Ray cover, and the cover of him in the cave, holding up the cave with the big black background. That's another famous one, and they all seem to be Fred Ray covers. And Jack Burnley, said he felt that Fred Ray modernized Superman, even though a lot of people feel Burnley did, but the two of them together. He had a great sense of design. You see there with, he's holding the guy up right through the dark space, even though, I doubt this is at night, but, graphically, it just makes it pop. And it makes it pop in a black and white cover. You don't need the color to make this a great piece to put on the wall. I mean, it's 1941.
Yeah. Right. I mean, it's the dawn of the funny books, and he's doing things. He's breaking. If there were rules, he's breaking them all right here. And I mean, I love the silhouette of the city in the background. I mean, I don't care if it's day or night.
I'm talking about graphically, he had a great sense of design. That's why his covers are the most striking covers.
Yeah. But just having him lifting the one villain across the word comics, I mean, that's smart. It's unique. It's great. And like you said, the composition's perfect. I mean, the four figures in the car. I mean,
it certainly has the the depth and by any argument, there are people who want to discuss the value of comic art and why comic art, different areas are worth what they are. One could make the argument that this should be the most valuable piece aside from the Frazetta in the auction. I mean, it's rare
from a historical standpoint. Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you were to ask a museum that's starting out with that wants to have a comic art, narrative art wing, not that isn't the Lucas Museum, you'd be looking for a piece like this because it's iconic and early, and I think there's a prestige in just the age of the piece alone.
And it's rare, as opposed, Fred Ray kept a handful of his covers, and Jerry Robinson kept some of his covers because they were roommates, and Jerry admired Fred Ray. So when he found out they were going to destroy him, he asked if he could have his art for himself, and he said sure. And the editor said just attach a note to it, and then it came back to him. So that's the only reason these few survived. It's just
thank goodness.
It's love to have it.
Well, this one's what's it, 50 without the juice, so 62.5 right now. Yeah, we'll see where it ends up.
Yeah.
And a San Julian Vampirella cover.
Vampirella is hot. I thought I'd include it because this is the only published San Julian Vampirella that we've ever offered. So if you want a published San Julian Vampirella, and of course he's so associated with and help maker, him and Gonzalez, in my opinion, the sexiest creature in comics. So certainly, then you got to get one of these.
Yeah, no, I had no arguments there. It's doing well to start. It's a great image, though. I mean, the silhouette like that. I mean, so many. There's a lot of artists that kind of look to these sorts of designs for figurative work that, and I just think I think it's a beautiful cover. So somebody's going to be thrilled to have this in their collection.
Yeah, 1971 full color painting, Vampirella 12.
Vampirella meets the Mothman. I don't think that's the Mothman, Joe. Good guess, though. Oh boy, then this Wrightson Swamp Thing 4 splash page is just unbelievable, and even the Zipatone doesn't bother me. It's a lot of his pieces are zip free, but I don't mind it. It actually kind of accentuates the sky in a way and helps really kind of focus in on the Swamp Thing there. this is, it's great. And of course, obviously having the lettering on the board with those very creative and fun panels, are just make the overall piece even more perfect for the era and make it a desirable piece.
He only did 10, right? He only did
Mhm.
1 through 10. And, he was really trying to, make his bones, prove who he was. So a lot of them are a little bit cartoony in the very early ones. But, look at this. This is another one that this is an interior splash. So when you're going through the book, this is by far the best page in the book and one of the best pages of the first 10 issues of Swamp Thing. You look at the little touches. I mean, you zoom in, look at the negative space on the wheels of that carriage. You're he's trying to convey the moody gothic feeling that he so loved, and he does it there. He puts that little light on in the church, in that building to the left, just little touches all over the place. And like you say, he had zipper tone. It doesn't bother me. It just shows that he was, he's pulling out all the stops at that point. That takes time to do. This is great.
Oh
great.
yeah, no, it is. I mean, the moonlight, reflecting, casting shadows on the top of the building, the fog, the the way it's lit, that whole area around the wagon is, no, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, Bernie, he was influenced by Jack Davis, by Graham Ingalls, and then of course by Frazetta. And so his art is this great, combination of those. But he's the guy that I don't think he was trying to swipe anything. He could draw what he saw in his head, and he was unique in that. I always say I love the way he did hands, so expressive, and they seem to be effortless. And actually many of his compositions seem to begin with the hand and the arm. So I don't think that's an accident, the way he did that arm coming up out of the dark. We also have in the sale, I don't think I've even covered it, but we got a great page from Swamp Thing 2. We have a page from Green Lantern 84, which is that special Green Lantern issue. I owned the art to the whole book of that Adams on that iconic run of Green Lantern, but inked by Wrightson. And we have a page in there. There's just too much to cover in the sale, so I thought I'd hit on things after picking an example. This was too good not to talk about.
No, I agree. That is that's a beauty. I won't place a bid live to intimidate anybody in the chat. Paul Smith.
Yeah.
It's funny when I looked at this one, because I remember this is 167. In my early days of collecting, right, there was a page from 167 on eBay. So we're talking, 2000, probably around like 2002, 2003. I was the underbidder on it, and I bid that page up to $3,500, and I felt at that time I felt like I was stepping up, because I wanted one. I kept thinking, they're always going higher, and back then, there was one or two collectors who were monopolizing the whole Paul Smith market to their advantage, and I was like, this is on eBay, this is my chance. And I really did. I went all in, and I still lost. At 3,500, I felt I was like 1,200 over, right? Like I was going 50% over what it should have been at that time. And I know I lost out to one of the collectors who was buying them all at that time. And and clearly for them, the more to own and keep the prices high, I mean, better for their collection, because they had like 40 other pages or whatever at the time.
Yeah.
But it killed me. I was like, I as a newer collector, that was the first time where I wanted to overspend, because I love Paul Smith, in particular this story. It was just a great battle outside of the X Mansion, all that. It was just perfect.
Well, how many books did Paul Smith do? 9, 10, something like that? I mean, he didn't do a lot.
Yeah, that was about
But he
it.
changed the whole kind of feel and direction of the X-Men. So a lot of people recall that whole run very fondly, and he certainly had a unique style. He brought a, a great. I mean, look at that Wolverine. That's at the time pretty unique.
Oh no, it was awesome. Yeah. No,
He's got muscles on top of his muscles on top of his muscles.
Yep. No, this is it's a beautiful page. And it's still early. We know where these things have been going of late, and this was just you got Wolverine claws out, and yeah, and no Marcus.
Don't worry, you got Cyclops standing by, ready
exactly.
To
He's ready
he's waiting to do.
Ready to jump in at a moment's notice. Yep. No, yeah, and I remember the page I wanted had Colossus on it too. It was like in this battle scene, so it was like a good one. But oh my gosh, but this is going to do so well. I mean, again, they're just so hard to come by. So
it's already at a big price, right?
Yeah. Well, with the buyer's premium, it's over 20.
Yeah.
So it's got a lot of room there, and was that the only Paul Smith? I thought you had
I think we have another one as well.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, right here. It's from 170. That's correct. This is a great page with the Morlocks too. This, yeah.
I only picked this one because of the larger panel.
All right, everybody's 10 issues, so 165 to 177, except 171. So you had one miss in there, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, that'll be fun to watch. And no, I'm not a player anymore. Paul Smith X-Men, but I wish I had a little bit more, more in the tank.
Can you delete guys from this viewing?
What's that?
Are you allowed to delete guys from the viewing? Block them?
I can do anything I want.
Somebody said that he's a better artist than Kirby on X-Men.
I don't know. Well, they're just giving me a hard time because remember, way back when I had my top 5. I put Kirby at the time at number 7, and I'll never be able to live that down. But I've moved Kirby up. He's maybe into my number 5 range now.
We haven't come to a Kirby yet, but this sale has like 20 Kirby pages in it, and excellent pages from the Silver Age, including I think X-Men 2 and X-Men 10. I mean, a lot of early X-Men.
There's a lot of everything. 10 page in here, and
everything from Captain America to X-Men of Kirby is in this sale. It's wonderful selection.
Yes. And everybody knows X-Men 10 is one of my all-time favorite X-Men books, and it's drawn by Kirby, and so to see a page from that, I still know I'm not a player for it, but it's just great to see them pop up. I'm actually, that one I'm going to watch just because I'm kind of curious, because the Kirby market on the X-Men pages is always a little underperformed, but now that we've seen, I mean, heck, there was that Werner Roth that went for like $26,000, and that from issue like 17, 18, not too long ago. That was shocking, and it had a bunch of knocked out X-Men on it, and Magneto lifting the mansion or something. So not even like a stellar page, but one that clearly a lot of people wanted. So that should affect if the Roths are going higher now, the Kirby early X-Men pages should do really well too.
Well, we're going to have that Magneto page later in the sale. I only featured it because you put it in the middle of the preview.
Yes, that is so true. But what do we got here? We have another Liefeld. This is a New Mutants cover from issue 92.
Yeah, he started on New Mutants 86, right? So he's credited with turning around one of Marvel's lowest selling books into a big deal and a franchise. So this is significant. Of course, Liefeld was greatly influenced by Arthur Adams, and you could see some of that here. And he was up and coming, superstar, and he was trying to show his chops here.
Yeah, plenty of characters on that one, and it's already over 30 with the buyer's premium. So,
Yeah, Liefeld's hot.
Then we have a 2 pages here, right? From issue 133 of Uncanny X-Men. So it's 14 and 16. It's
Yeah.
one of those in Cyclops' brain thing, battle. Is that what
Right.
it's called?
It's almost like a dream, but it's
Yeah.
a psychic battle. And so I thought you'd get a kick out of it because it's Cyclops.
Yeah, of
Except,
course.
except look at the last battle, the last page, the last panel.
Yeah, he gets it. Yeah, I know. He's not much of a swordsman. So, that's right. It was Mastermind, Marcus. A Mastermind. Boy, John Byrne could draw a really disgusting Mastermind, back from these issues. It kind of coming to the X-Men, for me as a new reader, just a few, less than a year before the Dark Phoenix stuff came out. Yeah, I wasn't too up on Mastermind, and but Byrne drew him like a crazy, fiend. So it just made these issues all the more weird. But yeah, no, I appreciate you picking this one, Joe.
Well, I mean, we don't normally, a Byrne double page spread coming up, but
No, I think it's right to keep them together. I
yeah,
mean, some people might say they could have been sold separately, but I think it's better given the subject matter on both pages that you kept them together.
agreed. Yeah.
Then here we go. Neil Adams, X-Men. I had Neil Adams in my top 5 X-Men artists. I mean, come on, this is you get you don't get a Sentinel in battle. He's beaten up there, but what a great page layout on this one with just the angled second panel, cutting the first panel, cutting the third panel. Cyclops on this one. Yeah.
Neil was he just moved over to Marvel. They're giving his new company, new everything. They give him the X-Men to do, and he's coming out with he's pulling everything out of the bag of tricks. And Tom Palmer inking, beautiful job. Here in particular, these type of books, Palmer really enhanced Neil's art as well. It's just beautiful. Yeah.
Yep. Nope. I love this one.
Like I said, we have some really good Neil Adams pages. We got some great Wolverine. I mean, that whole, era, the Wrightson, Barry Smith, Adams, late 60s, early 70s. There's some just great examples. And then this book is really strong on Image, all the Image guys. And we're going to start talking about that in a minute. But yeah.
Well, it's a beauty. And CJ says we got 56 people watching and only 24 thumbs up so far. Come on, everybody. Better than that. Hit that thumbs up for us. All right. We got McFarlane, Valentino, Silvestri, Larson, all on a jam cover for Image Comics.
Yeah. So I reached out. We got Jim Valentino, and he decided to consign part of his collection, first time ever. So, and he allowed us to put his name. So it's the Jim Valentino. If you do a search, Jim Valentino collection, you're going to see great examples of his whole career, from Guardians of the Galaxy to, Shadowhawk and things in between. But what's also impressive is he had a great collection of other art, Watchmen and Brian Bolan, and we'll some of those are covered here late as well. But here is a really nice jam page. McFarlane, Valentino, Silvestri, Eric Larson formed Image Comics. No, that's who worked on this one. Yeah. So these guys were part of the founders of Image, and yeah, I mean, it flows beautifully.
Yeah, it looks like Todd inked the Valentino and the Silvestri, but I guess Larson did his own inking on that. That's great.
Well, you got Spawn, you have Shadowhawk, Cyberforce, and Savage Dragon.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I'm glad you're working with Jim.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean, if you're
curious
an
to see what
Image
other
fan,
pieces come out of that.
these were major, impact. It's
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And speaking of Jim Lee, Marcus said there was no Jim Lee artwork on that last piece, but so we get an Uncanny X-Men page here with Art T. Bear's inks on a DPS from 270.
Yeah, this is a little weird because I decided to. I mean, it was among the leaders, but yeah, you don't often see Jim inked by R.T. Bear, and I found it very intriguing, and he did a great job. It looks very different than a Scott Williams ink piece, but yeah, really, really good. You look at the detail in here. It's a dynamic double page spread, comes from the opening chapter of the crossover event that changed, the X-Men.
The Extinction
And
Agenda.
yeah, Storm, Cable, protect the New Mutants. I mean,
Okay, what's
double page Jim Lee spread. Come on.
this is the sweet spot for many a 90s X-Men collector. They love Jim Lee. I didn't read any of these off the newsstand, but got them all after I started collecting comics again
Yeah.
in 95, 96. So yeah, this is awesome. Then Mike Zeck and John Beatty. This is the title page, The Secret Wars 7.
This is a first appearance of issue, right? So it's Spider-Woman mysteriously appears, introduces herself to the Human Torch and the Fantastic Four. It's Captain America, Thor, and the rest of the heroes are alerted by the stranger. So, it's a first appearance book. And as the way the market is, this is the hottest of the hot.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's Zach, it's Secret Wars, and you get a first appearance on top of all of that. And Alberto should be happy. There's a Cap appearance in there. I'm happy that there's a tiny Thor on it. But yeah, but it's a great image too. I mean, a wonderful. Again, it's back to title pages that suck you into the rest of the book. This is a great example that we just started. And yeah,
I'm Spider-Woman,
yeah.
right at the bottom. Of course, Jim Shooter was the writer, right at the top of that. Jim passed away, sadly. Zach Beatty, beautiful.
Well, now we get another Spider-Woman, not the same, but it's a Michael Golden page from Avengers Annual 10.
Yeah. Well, this book is the Rogue first appearance issue, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And this is the story. If you read it, is significant. This is the page where what is it? Spider-Woman saves Rogue's life, and Carol Danvers, pivotal page, captures the moment she's rescued from drowning by Spider-Woman, and she survives to become the new Captain Marvel.
Yeah, no, it's a beauty. Armando Gil inks on this one over Golden, but the art's lovely. I mean, this is right. For me as a reader and fan of Marvel books and anything really coming out at this time. I mean, who
And
didn't
it's
love what
significant.
Golden
Yeah,
was doing?
I agree with you.
Wow. Well, these are always nice to see. I can't say that I don't recall seeing this one on the market, before, but it's just a great image. That second panel, gorgeous close up, and Gill's inks over golden are wonderful.
Agreed.
And this was the Valentino piece, right? Because I
Yeah,
remember seeing, there's a photograph with him and Dave Gibbons, I think.
exactly.
So this was a portfolio piece, I
Yeah,
think.
we have 4 outstanding Watchmen pages, and I probably didn't even preview the best of the 4, but for specific purposes, I picked these. I mean, this was created as before the book came out, so this predates the Watchmen. This was a promotional. Uh, this was a ad for the buyer's guide for Watchmen. So it was before the release of the series. Dr. Manhattan looks down on the array of equipment, obviously, and they show from the back a little bit more discreet. But the classic line, who watches the Watchmen? And that's what's supposed to draw you in, and it does. Alan Moore, Dave Gibbons. Alan Moore. The more yes, misanthropic is the only way I could describe him. I don't think he really likes humankind himself. I think if he could separate himself from humans, like Dr. Manhattan, I think that's who he sees himself as.
Well, it's a fun piece, and like you said, if it predates the book coming
Yeah.
out or the series coming out, that's all the more fun about that it has going for it.
Mm-hmm.
Congrats to Jim for getting to be the owner of this one for a little while, right?
Yeah.
So that one's really just getting started, and like you said, there are a couple other pages from the book. Oh, that right there is a good one with Rorschach.
Yeah.
And okay, another one from issue 9.
Yeah. We'll be talking about that one.
Yeah. But here, Frank Miller, Ronin, issue 1.
Yeah.
This book caught lots of people by surprise when it came out. You were like, what the heck? Is this, and why, and initially, like, why Frank Miller? And then but it was such a great story. I mean, it sucked you in from like the first couple pages, and I think it definitely left its mark on a lot of readers from that time. It was just like, this is what comics could be. It's 1983, and when you let a creator just kind of do what they want and tell their own story. I mean,
and the creator,
era,
I think he got to keep the rights to, this is that's why he moved over from Marvel. So this predates Dark Knight. It predates, some of his other things at DC. So, people don't realize this is earlier, and it was a 6-issue series, and it had 296 pages, but only a dozen pages that I know of ever been floating around. There's very few pages of it floating around. Miller kept the majority of the pages. Heritage has only offered about 12 pages.
Interesting. Yeah, I'd have to see how many are on CAF. I don't know.
Yeah, without Ronin kind of breaking ground, there might not have been Sandman, Watchmen, or Dark Knight Returns. Yeah, Ronin inspired also Eastman, with the Turtles.
Right. I mean, that's that era of a lot of the independents, gaining prominence, and that's why I love American Flag from this era, the Elementals, all of that stuff. You were just getting new stories, new characters, and in a lot of cases from veterans of the industry. Chaykin was no, he didn't just happen on the scene. He'd been in comics for over 20 years at that point, and well, not 20, maybe around 15 at that point. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just anyway. This is a beautiful page. Those last 2 panels are stunning.
I was at Terrific Con up in Connecticut a couple of weeks ago, and Chaikin was there, and he saw me, and he just comes running out from behind the table. I said, "Don't you have to be at the table?" "No, come on, you want to get the guys together, and how about let's get this guy, let's get that guy, let's go to dinner, let's." He's such a great, he's a great guy, Howard. And you spend time with him, and boy, you'll hear some stories. And
oh, I know. I've done a few art sales with Howard. He's an interesting guy for sure,
yeah,
and he's still doing great work. He's
yeah,
been soliciting commissions through his Facebook page, and he likes showing off the pieces he does, and they're fantastic. I think when
yeah.
Howard gets to just kind of do stuff for fun, he's incredibly talented. So,
By the
so
way,
yeah,
I can recommend that show. That was a fun show.
mhm.
It's at the Mohegan Sun Casino, so there's a lot of stuff going on. You could park with no problem. There's plenty of hotel rooms, and
It's on my wish list. I've never been.
Yeah, no, and there was a lot of fun guys. Jim Starlin was there, Mark Silvestri was there, Dan Jurgens was there, Brett Breeding was there, Chaikin was there, and it goes on and on. I had a lot of fun.
All right. Well, speaking of portfolio pieces, this was a Frazetta Kubla Khan.
We have in the sale, in addition to the key Frazettas, there's also a wide array of Frazettas, prelims, pen and inks, all sorts of things. So, I mean, you really got to take the time to do it. This piece has always been pretty iconic to people that like Frazetta's inking. He was absolutely at his peak prowess. He, around the time of the Canaveral plates and things like that. And this was reprinted as the front and back wraparound covers of one of his the nicest books about Frazetta, Testament. And in 1975, I mean, look at the he was diluting his inks. He was using very displayed brush, just beautiful work.
Yeah, I mean, this is an incredibly iconic image, and yeah, it's stunning to see it at auction. I think it's going to do really well, and I don't know. I mean, what more can you say about it? I think that when I look at Frazetta's stuff, I do love his his painting, certainly, but the pen and ink work from this era is just unlike anything else. I mean, you can have other painters sort of emulate Frank's style and sort of get away with it in paint, when you're painting in acrylics or oils or whatnot, but you can't. It's just impossible to duplicate how masterful he was during this period with a brush and ink. It's impossible.
Look at that. Look at the left leg, the thigh. The work on that is just incredible. Do you see what I'm saying? On his thigh. Yeah, go left.
Oh yeah. No, I mean he's
it's just amazing. And he come to a perfect point on the guys. But I mean, he was. Yeah, I once said to Frank, I said, "Come on, let's do a drawing." And he says, "You think I could just pick up a pen and start ink?" He said, "I would have to practice for months to get back to a point where I could do anything similar." And I don't know if I was doing that every single day, and I was into it all the time. People cannot just automatically do that. He did it for a short period of time, and that was it.
Yeah. Well, he was amazing.
Yeah.
Another Wrightson, a little different here though.
Well, I got grief last time because we had the cover of the Cult #1, and I didn't preview it, and people were
with the manhole cover, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, you couldn't see Batman, and I didn't think it was going to go big. And I said, well, if I'm going to leave something out, I'll leave that out. And yet, wow, I was so surprised. And then people were like, "Yeah, how come you didn't talk about that?" Great, right? Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
obviously, people look back on this, with great fondness,
Of
and
course. I
the cover number one sold for almost what, 30 grand last time. Yeah.
Right, and people were surprised at the end of the day. It was more of a manhole cover, a glove, and a boot, and
Oh,
and
that's right. I think you reviewed it. Somebody
we did. Yeah,
reviewed
we
it.
talked. Yeah, it was on the recap.
That's right.
Yeah, we had a lot of people watching live on that, just I think to see what everybody's opinions were and whatnot. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think they were all surprised too because just from what's shown on the cover, it's not very figurative at the end of the day, but it didn't matter. It just didn't matter, right? It's right, and it's Batman, and it's from a storyline that people have a lot of respect for.
Yeah.
So same thing here. I mean, he's kind of being a little minimalistic by hiding half of Batman's face behind his arms, but that's okay. I mean, that
Yeah,
it's
I
a
think
it's
I
a
think he was
striking cover.
trying to. I really like the description that our guys wrote on this. It's a brooding intensity, and that's what he was trying to capture, because he's obviously very vulnerable, and he's shackled, and his hands are clenched in defiance. And you could see that look on his face. So you have this intensity, and by bringing it close in to focus, and cropping it in, you're really giving that sense of what you're trying to convey. And I think that's why I think Wrightson did these sequentially, knowing what he was going to do.
Hmm. Well, it's
You like
beautiful.
that, Bill? You like that?
I do.
Practice
I
that.
do. I do. I have a feeling it's going to end up on our on the on our recap that we do in a few weeks.
Oh, I think this is going to be one of those that I'm not going to recognize the recap, because except for two or three items, somebody's got something. There's so many things throughout this sale that you could pick on. I mean, I had a really, really hard time. It was much more difficult from 25 down than the first 20, because there's
Mhm.
so many things in the sale. Like here, I'm going to pick a Kirby. I only picked one or two Kirbys, if I believe it. And here's a page from X-Men 2. You don't see pages come out from X-Men 2 much. So it's got action. It's got all of them. You got the whole Vanish's crews getting defeated, and Cyclops drops the floor out from all of them. Iceman seals the trap. It's great when they all work together. That's what Kirby was going for in the beginning. All under the direction of Professor X. There's 25 outstanding Kirby pages in the sale. Yeah, from Captain America to X-Men.
This is awesome. Yeah, it does look like pie crust, but nothing wrong with that. Well,
And
and
what do
go
you
ahead.
want an ice cage to look like?
Right. It's got to look like a pie crust. I mean, come on, look, Iceman saved the professor right there. I mean,
And this
God.
was before the Iceman, was more like an ice cube. He was more like a snowman here.
Yeah.
It's the soft version.
Yeah, he doesn't I'm glad he didn't keep that look too long.
Yeah.
At least he wore his boots. I never said Kirby X-Men sucks. I never said that. All I said was I felt like
Fess up.
I don't know what my quote was. I said something like Kirby's work on X-Men didn't seem as inspired as his work on other books of the time. Like FF or something. And I don't know. And I'm beginning to regret that statement. But I made it like 4 years ago. A man can grow in 4 years. He can mature as a Kirby, fan in 4 or 5 years. I'm going to stretch it now and say it was 5 years ago. But that's my impression, and it's changed a bit since then.
Uh, well, and you know what? I think that one of the things that hurt Kirby and look at the Inkers was maybe not as, this is a Paul Ryman job. So it was done
Yes.
rather quickly. Any of the Paul Ryman things were done quickly, as were the George Bells, and stuff like that. So, but I don't disagree.
So it's not really Kirby, is what you're saying. It's
this
more.
is really a Kirby concept. He always liked those kid gang things, and he came up with the mutants. I don't think that this was a Stan Lee. I never heard Stan taking credit for the X-Men.
See, right here's that issue 10 page.
Yeah.
Not too bad. I mean, you'd want Kazar on it if you could get him, but I'll take a giant dinosaur and Jean and Angel on there.
Chickstone Inks.
Chickstone, yeah,
It
that's
makes
probably
a big difference.
It does. It makes a huge. Yeah, I mean, this issue just stands out to me as definitely my favorite from the first say 14 issues for sure. And
I like the Magneto. What is it? Issue 5.
5 and 4, maybe, or
in fact, we have an homage to that's such a classic cover. We have an homage to that cover later. That was done.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, this one I can still bid on it. Let me look. It's only at $2,700. I'm still a player on this
Kirby. One. I mean, there's a lot of room in this sale for.
It would be nice to own a page from my favorite, I won't say my favorite, but from my top 5 X-Men stories. That is there. So, what do we got here? Spider-Man 2-page by Todd.
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen. I've seen a few later, like maybe from like 8 to 10-ish, pages recently, but page from issue 2 is pretty nice to see.
Yeah, and again, look at the work on that glass. I mean, he was really putting in the time, both in a positive sense, and then going into the dark things. So you're going from the the glass being clear, and then all of a sudden against the dark. I mean, that takes a lot of work to go around each and every one.
No, I agree. And the McFarlane's known for those tight, vertical panels. I mean, sometimes, usually a lot of times going all the way across from the bottom to the top of the page. But so this is kind of a nice play on something that he's really well known for, from a pretty well remembered issue as well.
Yeah, and again, the close cropping, the exaggerated eyes. You have he did a nice job on the hands here. Usually make the hands a little darker, but this is very delicately done in that panel. It's second panel on the bottom there. Yeah. I mean, beautifully inked. And look at the mask in the next panel. Yeah, he didn't usually do that type of thing. No, it's really nicely done.
I like this one too.
Yeah.
And that one's just under.
McFarlane art hit a whole. I mean, we had pages every sale, and then last auction with the cover going big, and then that's. I mean, wow, that's some. Those were eye-opening prices.
Very true. All right, so an Animal Man cover, and this is from 27. Yeah, wow.
And this is again from Valentino's collection. I mean, not a lot of action, but what you want if you're buying a Brian Bolan cover is the detail. I mean, he put in a ton of work in this cover.
Yeah, all of his Animal Man covers were interesting, to say the least, but all were very, very, very detailed. A little different from. I mean, a lot of his Dread covers were 2000 AD covers were, but they were figure focused. They were just some crazy covers that came out of his Animal Man run.
Yeah,
this being one of them.
Yeah, and again, you have the wave coming out of England, from Grant Morrison and Bolan, and Grant Morrison wrote issues 1 through 26. This is the first Pete Milligan scripted issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that one's just getting started, it feels like.
Yeah. Nice.
Oh, now this has to be from the Valentino collection, right?
Yeah. This is one of his early Guardians of the Galaxy, you know. Valentino, when he was getting his first shot at Marvel, and they were looking for, and he was looking, what could I do? Where, you know, what do I like? What, you know, where can he make an impact? And he had the idea, basically, of a Marvel version of the Legion of Superheroes. You know, their same heroes set in the future. And interestingly enough, he tried to keep it real. He didn't just transport the same, like Spider-Man does not appear as part of Guardians of the Galaxy. He was already gone. But the Silver Surfer would still be alive, you know, and things like that. So, and this is the cover. That's the homage to X-Men 4. That's the Magneto cover. And this is inked by McFarlane, right? Yeah. So look, read the inscription down there. It's
After the king.
Yep. There you go. You notice he says the king.
Yes.
He wasn't referring to Jim Lee there.
No, or Stan Lee. Yeah. No, it's a great image. I do remember this one. Yeah, this is. I mean, I you know, having McFarlane inks on it, it really adds something, I'm sure, to the fans of the comics of the 1990s.
Valentino is one of the significant figures. You know, he was there in that 89, 90 time where all of these things were, you know, going crazy, just reestablishing everything about Marvel. And, you know, he went on to be one of the founders of Image.
There you go. So you can search on just Jim Valentino collection, and you'll get every piece of his. If you do a search that way.
Yeah.
Okay. And another one by Jim. This is
well, now we have to. If we showed his Marvel work, I guess it was only fair to show his first work at Image.
Mm-hmm.
This is what he's known for, you know, Shadowhawk, and this is the cover of the Shadowhawk Volume 3. Yeah, it's interesting. He was basically became a member of Image because he was a good friend of Rob Liefeld because he lived in San Diego. I mean, if you ever go back and look at Jim's history, you know, Jim wanted to get into comics, lived in Northern California, went to his first Comic-Con in the mid-'70s and met his first ever people interested in comics like him. So he met a friend who became a writer, and he met and he realized that if he wanted to be a professional in the field, he needed to be in San Diego and be part of that show so that he could meet other professionals. So he moved down to San Diego, no money, nothing, and joined the San Diego Comic Convention, working there as, you know, one of the people for the show. And sure enough, he met people and was offered work.
Well, that's a smart guy.
Yeah.
Well, this is I mean, again, 93. I wasn't reading it this time, but I know the history. So that's cool that he put this piece in there.
Yeah.
And here you go. Here's one of the Watchmen pages. This is from.
Now this is interesting because this is from Craig P. Russell's Craig Russell's collection.
Yeah, he's been. I know he's got does he have a few pieces in the auction?
Yeah, he has 3 significant Elric pages. I didn't.
Right, that's what the other ones
again were. Couldn't cover them, so I'm mentioning them here. There's one of the 4 Watchmen pages in the sale. You know, look at panel 7. You know, this kind of talks about how young Laurie, the girl's deciding she wants to be a superhero or not, and sees one of the other The guy used to be Minuteman and Mothman, I should say. And a guy gets drunk or he's having a mental issue, and he drops his glass. Well, that's also the vial of perfume that drops, and that image is the cover of the book. And it's interesting. Alan Moore, speaks a lot that a lot of people tried to use a lot of ideas that came out of Watchmen, but what they missed is the semiotics, the symbolism, which he and Gibbons were trying to do from the very beginning. A lot of people, I mean, I guess our people realize the cover of the first Watchmen being that smiley face, but with the blood across it is a very symbolic. It means the happy, superhero is not so happy after all. And that's what the series was going to be about. So he tried to add that symbolism all throughout each of the books. That, I looked it up just because every once in a while I like to do it. That is considered the #1 selling graphic novel of all time, as of now. Still, at this date.
And it comes with the color guide.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't subscribe to P. Craig Russell's email list, if you would have known these pieces were in the Heritage auction, because he or his the guy who works with him have done a very good job promoting the pieces in the auction, and they do a very good job of promoting things that P. Craig Russell is working on. So
yeah,
if you're not on his mailing list, you should be.
Yeah, and he also has a beautiful Hogarth Tarzan in the sale. These are things that were very important to him and influenced him greatly. So look how many different creators of different eras loved Watchmen.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting. You wouldn't think that Craig Russell would be interested in this type of art. I mean, he's super detailed kind of guy.
Probably as much the storytelling.
Exactly.
And there are a lot of people who just need to have a page that was written by Alan Moore. Another reason for owning the artwork. I think that adds especially on Watchmen, it adds a bit of a pedigree. But across the board, anything that Alan worked on is
we've
going to be in
about it before. Never before did you have a writer influence the value of comic art. Neil Gaiman, Alan Moore. If that makes the art more valuable.
Yeah. Well, this is a great page here from issue 244.
Yeah, we have some nice burn pages in the sale, but I picked this one because I really like the Galactus image, but the story, I mean, this is the summation of the story, and this is the first time, personally, I never thought that Galactus would be get sentimental about people. You know what I mean? Once, one cockroach in the universe is another cockroach in the universe to him. But here, if you read that panel, is all of a sudden he's developing friends or something like that. I mean, it really changes the whole concept of Galactus.
Right. He can't have friends. But yeah, no, I'm just a wonderful page. I mean, the way he drew Sue, I don't know. Sue wasn't always too hot when other artists drew them, but something about the way John Byrne drew Sue, you knew why Reed married her.
Yeah, and this is the issue where Frankie Ray becomes Nova, right? Or the new
such a great storyline.
Galactus, yeah.
Right. Well, Tom says this will go past 10K. Definitely. I mean, it's already at 6,500 with the buyer's premium. Jack Kirby with Warner Roth and Dick Ayers on this X-Men 17 splash to the end of right, the end page to that book. Just awesome. I mean, here
Yeah,
it's got.
this is
There we
it.
go.
Just like we were talking about a couple of those other pages, the Wrightson, the McKeen, there are some pages that you're flipping through a book and you just have to stop and say, what? I remember reading this book off the newsstand. These angels' parents are coming to visit him at the school, and who opens the door? Magneto. Men call me Magneto. I mean,
Yeah, he's telling them. I look at even the little word balloons up there. That's funny. Yeah, that's awesome. No, I like it. I like it.
yeah,
CJ says kind of has a pre-hero Kirby vibe. Yeah,
it's true.
yeah.
And we have a really nice pre-hero Kirby monster page. I don't think I talk about it, but it's really, really good. It's a splash page.
I'm going to go back. You said you have a lot of Kirby's in this one, and I did not have a chance to kind of go through every lot that you've got, but I'd like to see what other Kirby's are in this set.
Yeah, there's Tales of Suspense, there's Captain America, there's other X-Men pages. Yep. And then we covered the San Julian Vampirella, but a complete 20-page story by Jose Gonzalez. I mean, almost all of these stories have been taken apart.
Right. This is just amazing. He has to lay all that down, all the inks, and then he goes over with the white. It's so so aggressively, and it still comes out looking perfect.
He can do beautiful women. I mean, if you go through the pages, especially towards I think after the fourth page, she is shackled to a wall, and it's beautiful. Yeah, beautiful images of Vampy until she gets freed, and then
Oh, yep. Look at that.
Yeah,
Hey,
internal splash.
Mm-hmm. Nice. 20 pages. That's fantastic.
People don't realize the story of the first Vampirella, the first appearance of Vampirella, the internal book, the story went Tom Sutton, and it sold for a big number privately. I'm talking, in excess of 250,000.
Wow.
Way more. Oh yeah, Vampirella is very popular.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear.
Yeah.
Here we go. An uncanny X-Men page from they weren't uncanny yet, but so 118, right? 1979.
Go ahead. You could talk about this.
I mean, these were all classic stories. I mean, come on, you get the X-Men out of costume in the first panel. They're doing a little stalking, and then they I mean, come on, this is awesome. I love that in the last panel too. Even though it's not like it's detail rich, but just the way the bright lights just cast the shadows on them. I mean, this is just a great page. Oh my gosh, you even get Scott, in his in and out of costume. I mean, what more can a Cyclops fan want here?
Yeah.
Panels 2
he's acting like a true leader.
Yep, and there's a lot of people who prefer that huge visor that John Byrne always drew on him, that era of his costume.
And everybody's in this. You got Storm, you got Wolverine, you got I mean, everybody's
Colossus is changing there. Yeah, no, it's a great
Nightcrawler, Banshee.
Scott and his turtlenecks. That's true. Yep, he had style back then. It was 1979. Yeah. No, not Terry Austin on this one, Henry. You're absolutely right. But yeah, that's cool. That'll do well. I mean, again, anytime a burn page pops up that hasn't been out there publicly in a while is going to have a lot of interest in it.
Yeah.
Marcus. Hey, we got some more Jim Lee, Scott Williams. This is a Batman Hush Chapter 2 splash page. Nice Huntress.
We all know how well all those Hush pages did when they came out on the market, a couple of years ago. And here's a nice page from a Huntress.
Yeah, that's stunning. Look at all that detail on there. I mean, they didn't have to work that hard on it. They didn't have to put all the details in the bricks, or I mean that the Fred Ray. This isn't a Fred Ray skyline. It could have been, right? It could have just been a big silhouette back there, but they said, hell no, we're going to put in all the windows that we can, even though we don't need to.
Well,
and it doesn't detract from the piece in any way. Your focus is still on the Huntress.
And Scott did not leave out any of the windows that Jim drew in, which is the impressive part.
Yeah, that's so true. That's I mean, look at that. They didn't leave any section untouched. I mean, everything is filled with detail.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, this was the era, still not as much as those early 90s books of, who could do the most impressive splash, but still the splashes were still the prominent part of the book. And I mean, this one's a killer.
Yep. I agree. So this is from 2003.
Yeah. Jim Lee comes back to, mainstream and does Hush.
Now we have a Sam Keith Wolverine cover from 93.
Sam Keith, the controversial figure, but he could do. He was unique. What I found great is he started doing all those characters with the hunched over, round shoulders, really oversized hands, oversized everything, and here you have Wolverine and what's the other character? Sinister Shot showing off his.
I forget the name.
Yeah, it escapes me.
But no, Cyber. Is that right, Derek?
Yeah, it's Cyber.
See, this is not my era.
Yeah. It doesn't look like a Cyber. That's why I thought it was going to be called a Talon or something like that. But it's, I mean, look at this. Look at the amount of work in this cover.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I found it interesting. I saw an interview with Sam Keith that he said that he never enjoyed doing Sandman. He didn't think he was suited for it. He had to do it a little too realistically and a little, within normal proportions. That's why he wanted to be the inker and he wanted, Dringenberg to be the penciler. But he really loved doing when they let him do Wolverine the way he wanted to do it. So this is one of the most memorable covers of that period, and again, this is right before Image started and right before he left to go to Image.
Well, it's a beauty.
Yeah. I mean, I always looked at him as like an extension of Sienkiewicz. Sienkiewicz kind of broke the barrier of really stylized work, and then other guys were able to step into his shoes.
Oh, there's that Kirby monster page.
Yeah.
That's nice. Okay, Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, we got to get going. We're only up to 36, and we only have we're minutes left here.
We can do this. We can get this done.
Okay.
So this one's at $9,500 already from issue 5.
Only their 5th appearance.
Yep.
A rare story page. Michelangelo, Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, all in the page alongside of their new friend, who I think this is his is this first appearance of Fugitoid?
Was it in issue 5? I don't remember.
A character later become integrator. Befriending initially. Yep, I think so.
But yeah, so it's on Duo Shade board, I guess.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's awesome. I just can't imagine working in that manner, but this is outside of them eating some pizza too. I mean, this is a perfect page. Right? It's great.
And they're not really technically in New York here, right? They're in that future world, whatever it was.
Fugitoid.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, this is nice. This is really cool. Yeah, I love those first 4 panels. Those are just fun, especially the third one with all of them like that. That's great.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Oh, next up. Oh, another Frazetta.
Another Frazetta, and I selected this one only because so many people know this image. I mean, this image has been reproduced all over the place. So it's been sold before, but I mean, yeah, everybody knows this image. It's in a myriad of the Frazetta books. They did it in their own books. This is after Frazetta had worked at the Canaveral Press and Ace, Doubleday took notice, and when they asked for Frazetta, and then they got the rights to do the Doubleday reprints, and Frazetta did the great illustrations for those books, and this is one of them. 1971.
No, it is a very classic image. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Joe says, "I'll give you $11,000 now." Yeah. Well, it's already over that with the buyer's premium. It's at 13 plus.
It's very big of him, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got another Liefeld, 3 Liefelds tonight, right?
Yeah. Well, you have 3 impressive Liefelds. I told you this auction is very heavy with image artwork. So, you gotta go with your strength. New Mutants 98. Deadpool, Gideon, first appearance again, but a double page spread, a vertical double page spread. This is the first appearance of Deadpool, right? Mm-hmm.
Is it 98? Again, I wasn't reading comics. I have no idea. My knowledge of this era is
he's not in this page, but this is from very similar to that page that sold for so much money in the last sale.
Well, vertical double page spreads are a rarity. I would say that. Kubert, you can't go wrong with a Joe Kubert war cover.
There are 2 really outstanding Kubert war covers. I picked this one because of look at the number of characters in the background. His gritty line really accentuates the drama of this page. He stands, solemn, holding the medals, glasses, and tokens of fallen comrades. So it's quite a touching page.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. And there's another. Well, here you go, right here. Oh wow,
that's not the one. There's even a different. Keep going. Yeah, look at that, and look at that.
Oh my. Huh. Those are all great examples. Yeah. My goodness. Huh.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So we're not light on.
I think I consigned a page of Black Cat that Joe Kubert did in like Black Cat number 2 or something, 12 or whatever it is. But I showed that page to Joe, and he remembered doing it. And that's going to go for nothing. Here's Golden Age, first heroine. It'll be lucky if we get $1,500 or $2,000.
Right. Well, here you got a Jim Starlin splash page, but you got Dan Green inks on it. that just adds so much to this piece. I think this is beautiful.
Look at the beautiful image of. I mean, this is the opening
I was
splash.
just, it's funny. I didn't read this one, and then I look at Cap, and I'm like, I bet you it says John Romita Sr. in here
Yeah,
somewhere. And sure enough, it does
exactly,
say John Romita Sr. I mean,
exactly.
it's so distinctly not Starlin and Green, but
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that. That's cool.
And that's over an image of Thanos. So here, Stalin's Thanos
Hmm.
is the major character, but with Captain Marvel coming out in the middle. But you got headshots of Iron Man, Vision, Scarlet Witch, Captain America, Mantis, Death, Black Panther, and Drax. I mean, wow,
Yeah. No, that's a beautiful
that's
piece.
very dramatic. I mean, framed on the wall, beautiful.
I wouldn't mind having that one. And hey,
Yeah.
we got another Conan sighting.
This
Look
is
at that.
this is
Gil
Gil
Kane, no less.
Kane's first Conan cover.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, he did the fill-in on issue 12, and there it is.
Look, we're raising another villain across the the logo,
Yeah.
like in the Fred Ray example from that would have been
Well, I mean, Gil
30
Kane was
years earlier.
kind of in that school as well.
Yeah.
I mean, he went back early.
See, Conan holds him up by the neck, though. Superman was just kind of juggling him over into the space, but Conan, he doesn't handle the villains with any kind of care at all. I love that. But no, this is really nice Gil Kane piece. I mean, it's just the way he's layering the villains on this piece just lets you know how the havoc around the battle, and that
Well,
the
this is very similar to the Conan, to the Frazetta, where he's grabbing the guy by the throat. Conan's grabbing the guy by the throat. That was Frazetta's favorite Conan. And you see that same pyramidal layout, except here Conan's, like, as almost everything Kane does, is at an angle. Kane was not a circles guy. He was an angular guy. He laid out his figures using triangles rather than circles, and he gets that very similar to Hogarth Tarzan. I mean, you look at that figure, you say that could be Hogarth.
Sure.
Yeah, nice cover.
I was wondering what the piece was. That Kaluta Prince
That's
Valiant.
Kaluta. Yeah, doing
beautiful.
Prince Valiant cover.
All right, I'm
Yeah.
clicking on that one just so I can see it.
It's beautiful. Nadia is
Wow.
looking for a really nice Kaluta cover, and I showed this to her, and she goes, it doesn't have a woman in it, but boy, it's too beautiful to ignore. I mean, look at the work he did in this.
Yeah, doggone it. That's amazing. Yeah, I love the colors on it, the lighting, going from the cool to the warm. I mean, that's a
He
striking.
only used a few primary colors in it. He didn't need to with all this beautiful work that he did. I mean,
Yeah.
that the sale has the New York school, the Barry Smith. We also have a couple of nice Jones pieces in it. Wrightson and Smith. I mean, you've got it all.
Now you got a Tim Sale.
Yeah.
What is this from? Daredevil Yellow,
Yep,
issue
number 3. This is an interesting cover when you're looking at the original art, because you note that for a Marvel cover, it's got a ton of wash, which they did not normally like because you couldn't apply the color, but he got away with it. And I looked up the printed cover, and there's only a little bit of color that he adds. He just uses the 3 prime colors in the cover, and but the cover is really, it's all this, the black and white, so it's what makes this such a beautiful piece.
Yeah, no,
You've got Matt and Foggy shaking hands. So you got Daredevil in his alter ego, and you have him looming up in the sky in front of their new law office. So for a lawyer, this is the ideal piece.
well, there's a few lawyers who collect comic book artwork, as we know.
Yeah.
I think we're going back to Gil Kane with this next one, right? A Marvel premiere, first appearance of Iron Fist.
Of Iron Fist. So I had to talk about it. All these first appearances are super hot, and he's in it, in action.
Yeah, it's a nice page. Dick Giordano inks on this one for Marvel Premiere 15.
Yeah.
Well, the first appearance collectors will be all over this one, I'm sure.
And it's not very high right now, so.
No, it's not even at, well, with the juice it's around 9, but yeah, it's got room to go. And then you got a what does it say? 1973 Iron Man cover, Buckler Esposito.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people really love this era. A lot of people collect this era of Marvel, and especially they love Rich Buckler and they love Iron Man. So this is a very memorable cover for a lot of people.
Yeah. Buckler was a mainstay. I mean, he drew many of the books that were the first ones I was buying off, the drugstore.
That's
in the late 70s, right?
I hear this a lot, and he was like, I don't know if they were looking at him as a replacement for Kirby and Buscemi. I mean, he was stepping into a lot of, really big shoes back then, and worked on a lot of important books. And this is, you've got arguably the Iron Man's two, top villains with the Mandarin and the Unicorn, and he's in his iconic Mark IV armor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You got it all with that.
And then,
because it's number one, another controversial creator, Dale Keown, but another guy that became an Image guy, and he left after doing that memorable run on Hulk, with Peter David, and created Pitt. And here's a really look at the work on this page. From Pitt number 1. It's a funny page.
It's beautiful. I mean, gosh. And I've seen a fair number of Pitt pages, not in person, several scans, but this one's about one of the best I've ever seen.
You've seen a lot of pages we've only offered, this is the first page that we've offered.
Wow.
I think from Pitt.
That first panel alone is just unbelievable.
Crazy.
Wow. And then as big a battle scene as that one is, then the second one, he throws more characters, more bikes, and he could have just drawn Pitt as a silhouette in there, and he doesn't. I mean, it's just that's amazing.
And then the interesting part about him as a character is that shotgun blast would, as opposed, I always thought of him as the Hulk, but a shotgun blast to his stomach sometimes would stop him cold, and sometimes he'd get hit in the face and he'd just keep going. So I'm not sure what that was. Depends on how he felt that day.
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome. Keown has go watch some YouTube videos, Antoine. Wally Wood, an early Daredevil page. You guys have had a few of these over the last couple of years, and
I told you that this came out of these pages, like had never been on the market before, and they were never available. Any pages from Wally Wood. Now the books, Daredevil 5, Daredevil 8. We have 4 Wally Wood pages in this sale. 1 from issue 5, 3 from Daredevil 8.
Well, this is a very nice page.
This one has everything. It's got the Matador, which, I used to own the cover of Daredevil 5. And to me, that was always that was, if not the earliest Marvel cover in existence, it was one of, and it was always the most distinctive cover to me.
I know beautiful. It well. Yeah, it's a beautiful cover.
Beautiful.
Wow.
The coloring on that comic book was one of the best Marvel ever did, in my opinion.
Oh, that's a great page.
Yeah, he's in action. You got everything. You got the old costume, before I know. And then you have other, like you're looking at pages from number 8 where
man. Yeah, that's.
but you have the new Daredevil costume as well. So you have the old and the new. And he's the guy that designed. It was Wally Wood doing that Daredevil costume that said to Stan, "Come on, let me do something interesting here." And he came up with the idea of the new costume and the new color, and it stayed that way ever since.
Well, a Stiltman page would be on my wish list somewhere down the road. It doesn't have to be from something that early, but the villain just always made me smile.
Yeah, it is a funny villain.
Yeah. We only have 2 more pieces to look at.
Yeah.
This one is a early Hellboy character design piece, I believe, from 1992.
Yeah. Mike Mignola. We also have the Mignola collection, and he gave us all sorts of different art from his collection off his walls, including this, which really, really surprised me. This is the second ever drawing of Hellboy. According to Mignola, the art is it's the first It's the first time he did the stone glove. And you could see that it's a close version of what you know now. I mean, if you read the description, I don't have it. I'm not on the page right now, but he first drew this for a convention booklet, I believe, and then not this one, the first time he ever drew, and then he did it again so it wasn't for a published purpose, but he just had this idea in the back of his mind, and then it developed into the iconic Hellboy. But go up to Mignola and look at how many Hellboy pages we have in the sale. I mean, some great coverage. You talk about a guy who loves symbolism and a guy who, the whole bit. No, this is because this is in the non-floor. You kind of got to do a search, because we've got pieces from platinum and floor and non-floor. Look at that.
And you have the Del Toro auction coming up that has a few nice
Wrightson page. Del Toro was a huge fan. You hear Guillermo talk. He was friends with Mignola. He was enthralled with Mignola's artwork. He really encouraged him. He's the guy that suggested he go to Dark Horse. And he was shocked that Mignola was shocked that when he went to see Mike Richardson. He said, "What do you think?" Mike Richardson, "Absolutely, do anything you want." He said, "What do you mean?" "Anything you want, I'll publish." And he just gave him carte blanche without even seeing anything.
Wow.
And that's what freed him up to develop his own style, his own storytelling. He hadn't done a lot of writing before that. And as Guillermo was, a lot of that was him encouraging him as well. So Guillermo has, and he's a huge Wrightson fan. So He had some great rights and pieces that are going to be in the sale.
I know we got to see, the Frankenstein at San Diego, right? It was
Yeah. Had a good
pretty
time without
stunning.
me in San Diego, I think.
That wasn't the reason we had a good time, but yeah, it was an interesting San Diego, sure. But it was fun getting to see that piece, and I will be doing a preview show with Joe. Um, uh,
The other Joe.
the other Joe. Yeah, sometime I don't even remember. I think it's 2 weeks from now, but that'll be fun. And Guillermo will not be joining us, unfortunately. But
Yeah,
I had to ask, right? I'm like, can he do 5 minutes?
sure.
What- the answer was still no, but that's
He's a
okay.
nice guy. He did several interviews for that. For
I
the
have seen,
Watchmen.
yeah, he did an AP piece, and there was
Yeah,
one with the one with you guys, and
yeah,
I mean, he mentioned it when he was on the panel
yeah,
for the Lucas Museum.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he was mentioning it before the embargo was even off on it, where you could talk about it. So, no, it's good. It's going to be interesting to see. There's just so much fun stuff in there, not just art, but movie props and you name it, things related to Guillermo's, uh, movie, his career as a director and writer. I mean, it's going to be cool. You
Yeah,
don't
this
get to.
is a great time to be collecting because I mean, the unfortunate part is like you hear for those that don't know is Guillermo. He has two homes and full of material, and three different times the fires came within 100 yards of his house. So he feels like, you know, yeah, if you ever hear him speak, he feels he's a curator. He's only that this is every piece of art, anything that anybody has was owned by somebody else at some point. So we're just people holding it for the next person, and it would be tragic if anything, even though it might be insured, but if it got something happened to it, it'd be tragic. And he's too much of a collector to let that happen, so he's decided to lighten up. So some things are available, and I've heard this from other people. So material is coming on the market that you would have never seen before.
That is true. Well, we know of a few collectors who lost, a fair amount in the fires. So
Yeah.
there's definitely, that's a true possibility of having that happen. So I mean, I get it. I certainly understand that. I mean, he was gonna. I think both the houses were gonna be. He had planned to make them into museums and things. So clearly, a change of plan. And hey, you got to do what you got to do. So
Yep.
we've reached the last piece, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not kidding. I could have gone, 100 pieces and still been, into a material, but could only we're already 10 minutes over. Despite what I know people enjoy, but yeah, I don't know if more than 2 hours is look at how many other Frazettas you see those
I
prints.
did see that. Yeah, you've got a strip, and also this is that's a prelim, but it's
Yeah,
stunning. Ooh,
yeah, we have several
man,
pre-owned, some great material.
you even have a nice
I
Hal
didn't
Foster.
even I mean, aside from the Calvin and Hobbes, I didn't even talk about any strip art. We have great Crazy Cat, a great, Prince Valiant, on and on. We have 3 or 4 preacher covers. That piece, that girl, I
Yeah,
think that was like the number 1 or number 2 bid track item in the sale for the longest time.
it doesn't surprise me. I mean, I don't
It's
I don't care
incredible.
if it's 3 inches tall or 10 inches tall. That's one hell of a Frazetta nude. You don't see them that incredible. That's just a
It's
great. Sorry, I'm gonna take, yeah. She's beautiful. But we're ending with a Glenn Fabry piece. This is the cover to issue 10 of
yeah,
Preacher from 1995,
yeah.
and
Now we're getting back down into the early preacher covers, and each one. I mean, now they're really starting to sell for money, and I mean, it's just one better than the other.
mhm.
Got a really great one here. He's bloodied and ready for battle. We have another one where he's grabbing, an angel. I'm not sure if it's the archangel, but yeah, look at that.
Yeah, issue 4. That's great.
Yeah. And then yet another one. No.
I think it was just the 2, at least in this set
No.
right here.
Yeah. There's 2 more.
Okay. It might be split up somehow in the.
Well, one might be in the non floor. I don't know why, but well, one is a prelim, so it's very tight prelim, but it's a prelim.
Look at that. I'm gonna bid on that one right there. That Dave Cockrum.
There's a nice. Did you see the Dave Cockrum X-Men page? I think there's a page from '98, a really strong page.
Oh, right. Yeah, right here. Okay. Wow. Yeah, you get a nice Sentinel on this one. Shoot.
Yeah.
That is a great page.
Again, these are the type of things I left off because we already had, you had Paul Smith, you had Byrne, you have the Kirby.
That's a nice.
I guess we could have had them all.
Too. Wow. Tales of Suspense 80 page, Cullen and Jack Gable. That's a great page right there. Iron Man and Subby. Wow. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna have to spend some time, going through the whole auction in more detail. But fortunately, we have a little bit of time, right? Because it's the Friday after next, so the 12th.
Yeah.
Is and the signature comic art auction begins to close, and so you have Friday and then essentially 2 sessions on Sunday the 14th.
Correct.
What was it? The
20th century, 2000,
starts?
pre-year 2000, and then post-year 2000.
Exactly. And is the 6:30 a hard starting time, or is it?
Well, I'm hoping the other one finishes earlier, but they feel kind of confident it will. But
would that be the
runs
approach?
Later, it'll just continue after.
So could there be a gap, like if the first one actually, if the 20th century art finishes 45 minutes ahead of the other one, there will actually be a pause for 45 minutes?
Yes.
So, okay.
Well, the goal is that we want this, I think we already did it once. I think Xavier did an auction of just modern art, of art after 2000, and it was successful. So, it's almost like a showcase art of, we're just trying to see how to divide up. These pages are valuable, so it's not going to go into a weekly. So we're trying to give people a chance to, break up their day.
That makes a whole lot of sense to me.
This is going to be a big deal if you start adding the 3 things together. I mean, we're well over 10 million already. Yeah,
I saw that. Yeah, no, it's doing rather well with the the 14 days before it's all said and done. So, well, all right. Well, listen, as always, say hi. Hey, tell Nadia we miss her. I hope you guys. I
told her. I said, here's the deal, because last time she wasn't happy because the sound wasn't good. I says, why didn't you just walk in? And she says, how would it look if I just came in and then left again? And I said, well, why not? So now she was ready. If the sound wasn't good,
if it was bad. I mean, the funny thing was it wasn't so bad for me here in the studio, but it was worse for people out on the stream. I did, because if I thought it was that bad, I would have said something, but it didn't sound that bad to me. But but I do hope, OAX is in February this year, Joe. So I hope you and Nadia are thinking about.
Well, we were there last time.
I know you were there last
what do you
time.
Want? I normally go once every 10 years. It's we'll try. We'll.
All right.
I'm 99% committing. Let me put it that way. Maybe that's too high, but okay.
Well, I'll take 98 if that's the best we can get.
Well, we had fun. We had a lot of fun last time. So.
Well, we've got lots more fun things in store for.
Despite you not recognizing me.
Well, when you in the restaurant that night, you shocked me. I don't know. I wouldn't say I didn't recognize you. It was just surprising. It's like it was before the show, and I'm in a totally different headspace. Not thinking about talking to anybody I know, and then and then you walk up to me. So yes, it was. I think it was just me being a little bit more exhausted and just out of. I lost my focus.
I
But
get it. No problem.
I will be better next year. I promise. All right. Well,
All right,
yeah.
everybody.
Thank you for doing this as
Thank you
always.
for
You know
tuning
that.
in, and I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Yeah. No, it's always a
Oh, by the
pleasure.
way, as always, if anybody has any questions, if anybody's interested in consigning to pay for something, if you're interested in consigning, whatever it is, get in touch with me, and I'll be happy to answer your questions or direct you in any way I can.
Yeah. And
It's very
Joe's email
simple.
address
Joe
is.
M
Yeah,
at
your
HA.
email's right there on the screen, Joe, for Joe M at ha.com for any questions you might have, consignment or buyer, bidder inquiries. It's a good place to start.
Extended payment plan.
Uh-huh.
That's a biggie lately.
I I can imagine, or consigning stuff to cover
Yep.
your wins. Yeah,
Yep.
that'd be another reason to get in touch.
Yeah.
All right, listen, always fun. And I should remind everybody tomorrow we do have a show dropping at 3 o'clock with Matt DiTullio and a Collector Cash interview. So for those of you who have time on your hands in the afternoon, watch it when it drops or put it into your watch list after it's out there. And then I'll be back tomorrow night with a collector interview as well. So good
Cool.
night, everybody. We'll see you again soon.
Good night.